Babashte. So I accepted tobacco to come and share some information with you this afternoon. I want to tell you a little bit about how I got here. So anyway, I'm going to blame Junior. The reason why is because he told me at the last minute, and I said, "Oh, you've got to be kidding me." And I said, "This is payback, isn't it?" Payback because we presented at Treaty Education, their conference. I accepted on behalf of the group, and I only told them after. So I said, "Oh, this is payback, isn't it?" Anyway, he said, "Oh, no. Anyway, but I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to share our story, our journey, the work, the revitalization work that we are doing in Ocean Man. And so, yes, my name is Carla Bison. In our language, the grandfathers recognized me as Wichakbe Washtewi Imagiabi. That's what they call me, Good Star Woman. So I'm proud to carry that name, that spiritual name. It helps guide me in this work that we do. You know, I was listening to the young speakers, and I know most of them. I've been in education for a long time, 30 years, 30 plus years. And, well, I'm a counselor now, but still, in my heart work is language and in education. I was listening to them, and I was listening about their journeys and how they got to where they are. And for some of them, I have known them since they were very young children, sorry. And I had taught them. I've taught many groups in the Indigenous education faculty. I do a lot of sessional work there. So that's where I met a lot of our teachers in the Treaty 4 territory. So now, fast forward a little bit. I've always lived in Ocean Man in my community. I'm a community person. I grew up in White Bear, and I grew up with my grandparents there. And so we reestablished, we moved to Ocean Man First Nation. I've always lived there. No matter where I worked, that was home. That was my home base. I love my people. I love my relatives. I love my community. So in 90, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the journey. Since reestablishment, we reestablished in 1990. And so it's been quite the struggle in our nation. One of the things that we were forced, fraudulently, we were forced to live with our relatives in White Bear. So through that transition, through that experience, we began to lose a lot of the Nakota language. And that's who I come from. I come from the Nakota people there. So anyway, so in 95, when we reestablished to Ocean Man, there were six elders who spoke fluently. And I became the principal and teacher and nurse and janitor, everything else, in our one-room schoolhouse. But those were my support. And I think it was SICC, way back then, they had the retention language groups. And my community had asked if I would represent Ocean Man. I said, of course I will. Of course I will. So that's the work I did with one of our elders from our community. So throughout that experience, I brought our 6 elders in all the time. And what they did was they supported us in our language instruction in our little one-room schoolhouse. Oh, good. Okay, thanks. So, and my heart, I fell in love with everything Nakota, anything Nakota. That's who I was, and I needed to know more, and I needed to learn more. So I went on that journey, and the elders were so supportive. They were so loving. And they taught our little kids. I asked, they're adults now, these kids. They have their own families. I said, what's the one thing you remember in our little language group way back in 96, 95? And they said, we remember the ceremonial words, the concepts. What we did, we provided learning opportunities, and the elders guided them through that process. And that was feasts, round dance, powwow, sweat lodges. That stuck with them. So what that told me as an educator was that we can't have our children sit in a desk and expect to teach language in an unmeaningful way. It has to be purposeful and it has to be meaningful. So that's the way we proceeded in Ocean Man at the time. So I was there for 7 years. 7 years I was there. And then I needed to, it was a requirement, a 9-act requirement. You have to have your master's to be a principal of a school. So I said, I think I'm going to do that. So I pursued my master's in education. And I had to leave my community. I had to leave because it would have took too long just to do one class per semester. So I left. During that time, Nakota, the instruction, the learning, and the teaching kind of fell on the wayside. And it was heartbreaking because I had grandchildren attending that school, and I would ask them, are you guys learning Nakota in school? And they're like, one of them came back and said, no, we're not. And they call me Kushi. They don't call me grandma. They call me Kushi. That's who they know me. That's who I am. And I thought, yeah, I better start advocating. So I did. I started advocating in Ocean Man really hard. And yes, I made people mad. But it was so important. It's so important for our children, our grandchildren. And I said, you know what? We have kind of skipped a few generations in learning Nakota. This can't happen anymore. So I advocated to our leadership in our community. They agreed. And it was a different group back then, different leaders back then. They agreed. They said, you're right, this is important. What can you do? What can you do how can you help us? How can you get this going? And I wasn't employed at the school. I was just a community member. I was employed elsewhere. And I said, well, let me think of something. So I began meeting with the school staff, and I said, you know what, we really need to get that language going in the school here. We do. This was in 2017. And I think it was Melody Wood who came from SICC. And she said, Carla, apply for this project funding to help support your language. And so she helped us through the application. And I thought, what a great opportunity. So what we did, we kind of stumbled along, right? So one of the things is I gained expertise in curriculum because I worked for the province for 5 years. And I learned how to write curriculum. I learned how to evaluate learning programs there. So I said, we're going to do this. This is what we're going to do. So that was the early journey of Nakota in Ocean Man. Fast forward, and I know I'm forgetting about the PowerPoint again. I did it before. So fast forward, I think it was maybe 2017, I approached Nekshi Pete. That's my uncle. Nekshi Peter Big Stone. And I said, come and help us. Come and help us do this. We need your help. He said, of course I will come and help you. He came and we worked together for maybe a year, and then I kind of stepped back and I said, you continue this. I'm going to pursue another way to do this. So he stayed at the school. Then these project grants were coming around, and I said, we need to do something. Oh, sorry, I'm pounding the tobacco. We need to continue, but we need to begin engaging our community. Who can help me? Who can help me? I was thinking. I thought of JR. I consider JR my little brother. And so I approached him. And I said, this is what we want to do. We need your help. He was a little bit hesitant. And I said, no, we need your help. We need your help to do this. Because one of the things that is not readily available is a bank of Nakota language speakers. We're always struggling. So he agreed. He became our mentor. Nick Pete was our mentor. He became our elder advisor. And then Junior came, and he was our mentor. And we have been at this. We decided that we are going to use the mentor-apprentice model. And we thought, well, you know what? So we offered community classes. That was good. In the beginning, community was excited. They were coming, but it kind of petered out a little bit. And then we offered we decided we're going to use the school as our springboard. So then we did a language camp, a 2-day language camp. Over 100 people came through our camp. And we engaged the expertise, the language speakers from neighboring communities. And then we began thinking, we're in a hurry. This is urgent. We need to do this quick, right? We can't be another generation who does not speak Nakota. Or we can't be another generation that does not understand our Nakota ways. Awichohag. We can't be that. I have a responsibility. I have grandchildren. I have great-grandchildren. My role as a grandmother, as a kunshi, that's where it is. I need to support a good Nakota future for my grandchildren and my little relatives. That's my responsibility now. I took the responsibility serious. We began developing our project. And at first there was just a few of us. That was okay. And then I kind of went around house to house and said, come and try this out. Come and check this out. You'll like it. That doesn't mean that it's all Ocean Man people in our group. There are people from White Bear, there's people from Pheasant Rump, there's people from neighboring communities. They came. What they didn't realize was the time and dedication that it's going to take to do this. Like I said, we're in our 4th year. And we've had people come and try, and it's time consuming. And the commitment has to be deep, and it has to be authentic. So we end up with a solid group of 6 of us right now. So because we're in our 4th year, our group that we formed within those 4 years, we are now able to take time and space in our community and teach our community language now. That was the goal. We need to build speakers. We need to grow them. Doesn't matter how old they are. We all start at the same place in language. We need to do this. So that's what we did through this project. We committed hundreds and hundreds of hours. We engaged our local support from Chegakin, from Pheasant Rump, from White Bear, from across the line here, our relatives over there, across the medicine line. We engaged them. We said, come and support us. Come and help us do this. So that's what we did. That's been our journey. That's been our journey. And we have grown to now be confident. You know, I was listening to one of the younger speakers say, oh my gosh, you get up here and, you know, the Nakota flies out of your head. Seriously, seriously. But we have set goals in this project. We have set goals, and one of them was introduction. If any of you attended treaty education, you heard our group speak Nakota. And we had set, we need to be able to tell stories in Nakota. We worked on that. One really important piece, we need to be able to pray in Nakota. We worked on that. We all know how to pray in Nakota. We want to share that with our community. We want to share that with our young people. And we have learned how to engage the community, to trust us, to say, you know what, I know you can do this. Come and learn in a safe environment. And that's what we created. That's what we created. We do that once a week with our community. All of us do that. We take turns. We feed them. Food is so important. Feeding people to come to your event, that demonstrates, that shows so much respect. My grandparents did that. I learned that from my grandparents. Feed your visitors. Feed your relatives. Feed them all the time. Honor them. Honor them with food. That's what we do with our groups, is we feed them. So that's a bit of our journey. We're still kind, I want to say, we're not almost there. Because one of the beliefs that we have is we are lifelong learners. But the important thing is to ensure that we are active learners. I don't know it all. I know how to write formally. I can get up here and speak, but I don't know it all. I'm still learning. I'm still learning from my little brother here. I'm still learning from Nekshi. We really miss Nekshi Armin. He started with us way back in the 90s. He provided professional development for our teachers at the school. And our teachers honored him by attending and reinforcing what he taught them in our classrooms. That's our story. I don't know if it's complex. I don't know if it's helpful to you. But one of the things for sure, it takes dedication, it takes commitment, and you have to love what you're doing. You really do. I know that, I'm not sure if we even got to that place in treaty education where we showed, I kept forgetting about the PowerPoint, just like I did now. But anyway, I'm going to try and find the place which describes the map. Oh, there's our mission. It's to bring language to life, so that we can live through the language. That's our motto. We need to live through it. It's not a want, it's we need to. And I just did that. How did we get to where we're at now? Oh, that was just for my own speaking point. I'm from Ocean Man, and our revitalization journey began because that's the work we're doing. We're revitalizing, we're reclaiming our language. Here we are. Here we are today. What is MAP? And I can't see that, guys. So. Anyway, there's some key points. It guides us for our project. Can you make that bigger? No, oh, sorry. So that's our project. That's what we do. We work through that. I think that we will focus on the map for another few years. Oh, I have to tell you our story sometimes in our sessions, right? Our little brother here just gets really bossy with us sometimes. And he'll say, come on, guys. Jay-Wes, I told you the other day. And I tell our group, oh my God, Junior's grouchy, right? Anyway, but what that does, it keeps us motivated. It keeps us going. So even though he may sound bossy or whatever, we need that. We need that. And I think of my grandparents. If they wanted us to achieve something, finish something, we would get the same. Let's hurry up and do this, but take your time. And I'm not sure what else I put on here. Can I move it down to the next? Oh, I guess that's it. So that's our journey, that's our experience. And people do ask us, what do you do? What do you do exactly? So I'll tell you what we do. How do we know that we're learning? We collect data. I know that sounds really Western and colonial, but it's important for us. It's important for me. It's important because data tells a story. And we collect data. Where are we at? We gauge ourselves. Well, in 3 months, you need to be able to stand up there and talk for 3 full minutes in front of your relatives. And I think Junior, I don't know if he's going to share that story with you when we first tried it. When we thought, oh yeah, we're all smart. Oh, I had my my chart paper, because I'm a teacher. I love chart paper. I write everything on there. He took my chart paper and he took it way to the back of the hall. And he said, I want you to do this. I want you to do this without looking at that. And I'm a teacher, 30 years in a classroom. I get up there and I'm like, And he's like, we really need to wean ourselves away from that paper. So we're still doing that. I learn how I learn, but we're still weaning ourselves. But that's important. It's really important. People ask us, what keeps you guys together? What keeps you strong? It's our dedication and our commitment. And sometimes it has to be a commitment to each other. We're going to do this. We started together, we need to do this, right? So, and we have, one of the things we do talk about is some of the challenges because we all work. If we had our way, we would work, learning, teaching Nakota 7 days a week. We would. But that's not our reality anymore. And that's our challenge. Our challenge is we can only dedicate 800 hours because we also try to stay within what research tells us. Well, I do anyway. I like that kind of stuff. And I'll say, well, let's not overwhelm ourselves. But we're getting better. Our foundation is getting more solid. So, fortunately, I work with 2 other members of our group, and we have that opportunity daily to interact in Nakota. What we do find, though, is that some of the conversations we have at work, we would not be able to do in Nakota. The concepts are very modern. We searched for the word for email. We wanted to talk about, email. And that was very challenging for us. So we have to deal with that. We have to deal with modern concepts. We have to deal with the modern way we live. And that is one of the things that hinders our progress. So our reality is, though, we all have to work. and I'm a counselor in my nation, it takes me away a lot. And I try to do my best and stay committed. Stay committed to the time, stay committed to the hours. And our other people are their outreach workers. So community priorities, that's their priority. So sometimes we have to back away. But we try to use it. We try to utilize it at every opportunity. Next sheep Pete comes to the health department and to have coffee. We have a whiteboard there. And we're always inviting him in, you know. And then we say, how do we say this word? Or what about this term? He gives us a lesson during his coffee every morning. And I don't think he realizes that he's actually teaching us every time he comes for coffee. I don't know what time it is, so... Oh, okay. So, yeah, I'm not sure what else to share with you. I think that if we proceed in our project, the more we do, the more we accomplish, the more we achieve, the more we experience in our journey, then I think that we can always come back and share that with you. Where did we leave off? Here's where we left off. Here's how we grew. Here's how we grew. But I'm really proud. I'm really proud of the work that we do. And at some point, because I am where I am in my life, this will be my full-time journey. It's that important to me. And it's important. I have my little grandchildren, and I talk Nakota to them. My son, too. He's pretty good at it, so he talks to his kids. And them, too, they're getting pretty good at it. And a few of them go to Ocean Man School, so they remind us. They remind us when they come home. And if you're a Kushi and your grandchildren come home and share what they learned with you, and it's one of those really important things, your heart just swells. It swells. And you know that you're doing something right. Although the work is hard, but it's right. It's the right thing to do. So that's what I want to impart with this group. I didn't want to get too academic-y. I could have, developed a 30-slide PowerPoint, but I don't think it would have been as authentic and as meaningful as a personal experience on this journey. So with that, I will ask my younger brother here. I kind of went to the table earlier and said, there's going to be an opportunity for payback. Anyway, but he keeps pushing us, so that's good. I'm glad he does that. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over.
That's on, eh? Is it on? Is it on? Yeah.
I'm staying in you had number chum news of me. Mishne wamni gia iae Robert Shungawashta JR. Ne amba ne dago jona no nuha mitugashi in decha uspe maku homakshina handa. Ne nagaha nahach Nechin ochango ne imnuda no. Madaguni. We chaktiana wogugana wasnokia jenuha. Chande I hoku nina piwaginach. Mi daguchia bi iuha, wanai ayashe, indu gagaba mikoche, ekta ti nakaha, ha, wexuyach. I want to wish you all a good day. When they asked us to do this, I kind of declined. I didn't want to be up here. For the simple reason of pushing someone. Because we can't always be the same ones. Somebody else has to do this. And so when they asked me, the respect I have for my other relatives, I said, no, I think so-and-so should do this for you. Or so-and-so, she'll do this for you. And so that's what I did. Well, then they said, they tried to chap me again. We need an MC. How about be an MC? I said, my voice is a little tired sometimes, and I don't think I'll make it through the day. So, I had mentioned it to my good friend Scott that, I'm not being disrespectful to you. I'm just telling you, me right now. And I respect all of my relatives that much, that they need to take a turn and they need to try. Because if they don't, then they're always going to sit in that little comfort zone of theirs. Being in that bubble, not so good. We've got to get out of the bubble. And so this project that she spoke of, that's the push behind it, is getting out of the bubble and building confidence in them to stand. First of all, just to stand. So that when you have 100 eyes looking at you, language isn't going to go foof, because it does, right? We heard it earlier. I got up here and poof, it does, right? That's from the learner's standpoint, I can tell you that. And that experiential learning that I went through, that I'm passing on to my relatives, I can tell them that in truth, this is what's going to happen to you. Watch. And when she talks about that very first time we stood up, exactly what happened. I said, just one word. I want to hear one word. And they had these lines and we get used to reading and writing and whatnot, right? And so I told them, yeah, you can use that, but something's going to happen to you. And so sure enough, got up, and there was just two eyes looking at me. Just me, only two eyes looking back at them. Poof, gone. It went away. They couldn't remember it. I said, oh, okay. Okay, you will try again. Go back, do a quick read. Close your eyes. I can do this. Get back up, and it's just me looking at them. Not 100 eyes, just me. Two eyes. Poof, gone. I said, see, I could tell you that's what happens, but we're gonna change that. We're gonna flip that so that you can stand up and you can tell a story and you can talk about who you are. Identity, we heard that for 2 days, identity. We searched for identity amongst our Nakota people. And the one thing I heard here in 2 days is amongst the language groups here, is the walking dictionaries that you have and how lucky you are. We don't have those. They're all gone home. And I miss them. Because now we're doing this alone by ourselves. And we're trying to figure it out as we go. She said, email. I start thinking. That's what your mind just starts thinking, because we want to think Nakota. We don't want to think English. We want to think Nakota. Email. Wakao Okmabi popped in my head. Oh, this mysterious letter appears. Waka Okmabi. This mysterious writing appeared. Right? It's mysterious. How did it transfer from there to here? Right? One way. Is it the right way? No, but we evolve. Of a Nakshi sitting there, we're talking about evolving. And he's telling me, we can't make words up. I said, how do you evolve then, Nikshi? You have to. He said, the word horse. He told me, the word horse, we never had it. How old is that word? I need to ask you this. How old is that word horse? What do you think? Oh, well, 200-300 years old. I said, imagine the ancient speakers that sat around and made that word. They did it. We can do it. I said, we have to because we evolve. That's where we're at. We don't have walking dictionaries. The resources that we have to turn to. And we got to put the work in. We talk about dedication. That first year we went from September to May. I think we put in close to 400 hours, and most of it was on Zoom because we were going through that time and we couldn't meet, you know. By May of that year, we were wiped out. We couldn't think no more. Not so much dedication. We couldn't. And I knew then that's as much time as we were going to give. For some reason, when the leaves change, we change. When that season comes back and the leaves return, the renewal of our new year, we change. Our mindsets flip to something else now. We're ceremonial people, and we're huge on it. In the day of our ancestors back before contact, we were big on bundles. Alcohol came into play. What did they do? They wanted to protect their grandchildren. So they wrapped them up and they put them away. Growing up, our late uncles, my mentors, since we were kids, young boys, we were always told we didn't lose them, they're just sleeping. But if you don't go after them, they're going to stay asleep. So they threw us on this pathway. We heard it earlier, Brother Misu Kevin, talking about fasting. That's what they're talking about, fasting. And we see it in different communities, the tribe that they have. Well, for us, it's a little different because we're taught certain things at that time. 365 days a year, not just 30 or 60, winding into it. When we're done on that year, okay, the next day we're told, get ready, it's coming again. And they're telling us to prepare for 364 days from now. It's coming again. That's how we were raised, doing that. And so in that sense, that's what we're trying to tie together. We heard yesterday Tanya talk about this side and put them together. Make them work without asking. Then I heard the second speaker, something always stayed with me. What did she say? Speak your language like it's a wildfire. Like that. Perfect. Absolutely to the point. Right? Brother Kevin this morning, the one that stayed with me was fasting. Why? The one thing that I took off with a few years ago was spirit. Spirit tied to language and how it works together. In the beginning, when we all had language, and when I listened to those that grew with it, you don't know how envious I am of you. When you talk about your grandpa and your grandma with the same language and tying you into that young. I needed to get back there and find a way to do that without speakers. So I came up, and away I went. I started making miles, asking questions because I had a question I needed an answer to. And I found it. Energies. Awesome. Adena. Ampahokshila. Ejiabino. This man, we heard it yesterday. Wapipia wichashta. Bundle carrier. Lived like that. Raised like that. Lakota, relative of mine, uncle of mine, my guider. Raised me. Helped raise me. How nakshi. When we're with our mothers, what happens? And I still remember this, sitting across a chair from him. I drove 10 hours to go have coffee with him, just to ask a question. And we were sitting there, and we're having coffee, and he puts his head down, he sips his coffee, and you smokers, you gotta take a couple, and then you think, right? That's what he did. Oh, he said, this is what they said. And so when Kevin talks about that, Nawaguma gantik nista magigoi skatenchi, right? That right there. Hektamo dagagichie wa snokia yuha, all of them that had it. This is what they said. When we were with our mothers, we were given 2 energies. And the first one, halfway through, they say you roll. We're given dagushkashka. We're given our first energy. Second one, almost at the end, you women that know this, and I remember this, karate kick, I call it, under the ribs. The big kick. You get one that just takes your breath away, right? Almost drops you to your knee, that one. Wowaka. We get spiritual energy. And from that time on, what happens, ladies, right? That little one she doesn't stop doing this. So it becomes overwhelming for you. I said, well, what did they do? They said, we sang. We sang to you. I said, that's where we began learning sound of language. That's where we got our head start, because our mothers, not our mother, our mothers would talk to us. Our grandmothers, right? They would talk to us. And so through that term of being in that water, right? It's purity, takes care of everything, taking care of us in the beginning. During that time, this is what they're doing to you. Well, this is what we don't have. We don't have that no more. So how do we get that back? That's the question. I'm standing there thinking, how do we get that back? And if we don't go after it, it's going to stay there. So you have to wake yourself up. And I still got this idea, okay, again. Well, I'm gonna do this. And as I go along doing it, I'm going to continue to ask that question. And so I went to Lakota, Dakota, my Nakota relatives. I went to the Blackfeets. I went up north to my Cree relatives in Sweetgrass. I went to Fishing Lake, asked that question. Kiniston, asked that question. About energy. I needed to know energy. And when I got that similar, it was very similar, the answer that was given back about language, sound, protection, that early. I started thinking, okay, we need to give that back, but how do we do that? I'm going to create lullabies. And so I started to do that. And maybe it was timing, maybe it was the right thing to do then, but they would just come one after the other. And I probably end up with about 30. By the time that year was done, I end up with about 30 lullabies. And then I kind of got stingy, I just kind of hung out. This is kind of a good thing, I like this. But it needed to be shared, and so I start sharing it. And I did that thing, we record them, put them on recordings, and I start, here, you should learn these. You're going to need these, right? Because I want them to know that early, they need to attack that. They need to go back to that. Instead of running, we were told to walk. How, my boy, you need to walk, don't run. One day, you're going to be standing way over there, all by yourself, if you keep running. Because you're going to want to know it all. Ain't nobody going to be with you. Everybody's going to be back there. You're going to stand there thinking you know it all. That's what he's telling us. Said, so we need to walk. So being told that, maki utabi, o tapi no, o mawanich. Many miles I made. And if I had a question, I don't have the luxury of going next door to get an answer. And I'm old school. I'm going to pick my gifts up. I'm going to put what little money I can together, put them in my car, and take a drive. Set my time aside. Those are the things that people don't know that gets done in language work. They don't know that's the hidden behind it to find an answer for you or for someone. And so I do that. And on that day, I drove 10 hours. Go see my uncle, my father, gift him money, what I had. And I had this nice Pendleton at that time, wrapped him in it. And I posed him that question. I got a question. I got my answer, and away it went. But it stayed there. And so today I go, that didn't grow. But what I did was, one of my female relatives, I know language doesn't belong to the male. We just assist it down the road. Language belongs to the female being. It's yours. And we just help you along the way. Because for the first 12 years of our lives, we are raised with our mothers. And when we change, we're turned over to our fathers and our uncles and our grandfathers. And from there, we're given all those things we need to know as boys. These ceremonies, right? Those dances. We don't have those no more. And we're trying to get those back. And I'm hoping I get there. I got a brother that I work with really closely from Montana, Misu Wamniju, seen Roger White. Very close to him. We sit there and talk like we're 80. You know? Even if it's 11 at night, bing, my phone would click and it would be him. You have time? Yeah, go ahead, call away. We'll sit there at 11 at night. And he'll be reminded of something that he remembered. We work on everything. Language, big thing we're in, hand talk. I heard it yesterday. Hand talk. Wayuta iya. We love it. We work with it. And I use it with my little kids. And it's part of my class with little ones. Perfect. It's a perfect teaching tool for them, right? I sing to them, we play games, and we do hand talk. That's how our language class goes with little ones. And it works. I got asked, well, what do you do? I said, well, that's what I do. I don't need to make it complicated. I just need to make it simple so it lights a fire. And we can keep that fire going. Oh, 11 minutes. Well, you know what? I think we're going to stop there. I'm going to let you soak that in a little bit. An idea of mine with that, we have 4 levels of language. We talk about 4s. I heard it yesterday and it just clicked again. 4 levels. This is how I view it. 0 to 12 is our first level. And I tell that to all the beginners in my class. Anybody I teach that's a beginner, you're a kindergartner. Don't forget it. And don't be ashamed of it. We all are. 12 years old, what happens? We change. The girls change, the boys' voices drop. Oh, 1 hour. Away you go. Mothers, our mothers, what is that? I need that answered. Mothers and boys. Fathers and girls. Right? Yeah, my girls, daddy's little girls. Our son to his mom. Real close. But at those ages, we're supposed to leave them now. Back then, today, We're struggling with that, right? We're a little bit spoiled with that. We don't really want to send our boys away. No, get back here, right? Our girls away. Hey, you okay? Yeah. And I'm proud to say that. With my daughters, I made sure and did that because it was reminded to me. When they changed, it was 10 feet away. You were 10 feet away, so I walked. They were there. That was it. That change happened in them. They didn't know what was going on. I did. Oh, you belong to your mom now. All your aunts. Right? Oh, you go. Little did I know there's some crazy stories that came out of there. Teenagers are crazy, right? Still love them, doing great, right? Our son, I'm still having a hard time getting him going because we didn't do that, right? With him. You know, it was too awesome with him. Too awesome with that trail with him. And so today, before I finish, I really want to thank the Cultural Center for inviting us. What little we can share, the 4 levels. 2nd level is teenage years. 3rd level, adulthood. 4th level, wasnokia, having that great knowledge. Being in that level. Those 4 levels we're going to go through. And for a beginner, I view them as 12 and under, no matter what age they are. And that's how I treat them, and I tell them, don't be ashamed of it. We're going to do this together. And we're going to have fun. We have fun. How did we survive so long? Laughter. Laughter. That's exactly what we do. We make a mistake in class, we laugh. We don't discourage, we encourage. All the time. Huh? So I'm going to leave you with this. This song says, the children will have language. This I will see. And I'm going to treat you like my grade 1 and 2 class. We're going to put down everything we're carrying, and we're going to put on a table, and we're going to close our eyes. I call this making a wish. Before we play a hand game, we make a wish. Teaching them how to pray. So today, while I sing, help me say thank you, and that language will continue to grow, and they will have it, and they will grow with it. We ya hey ya ho ya hey ya hey ya ho we ya hey ya ho Chinjabi iu hana ho Nakonia be you ha bekta wam na no Nakonia be you ha bekta wam na no Jehange pa. Ha, washte. Pinamaya.
So, I don't know if this is on. Is it on? Wangya. Anyway, I like saying Wangya, by the way. I hope that we were able to inspire, give some good, strong messages, and share a little bit about the work that we're doing. I think we're going to be doing the work for a long, long time. One of the things that we're doing is each apprentice has to bring another person, and then that person has to bring another person. So we're growing our speakers. So with that, Pinamayaya, Chande Washte.